Hey, thanks for watching my video. If you like the content in this video, please hit the subscribe button. Today we're replacing the brake fluid in a Ducati M1100. It's going to be about the same for most Ducatis. So first thing we got to do is pry this cap off of the brake fluid reservoir. This cap's only been on the bike for the last 11, maybe 12 years. And your brake fluid is not supposed to be that color. So if you're riding down the road and you're looking at your brake fluid and it's brown, chances are it's not supposed to be brown. I would get a brake fluid that is not this color and put it in my bike. There are brake fluids now on the market that come out of the bottle and they're like a tan color. I am not a fan of that. Brake fluid should be a honey gold color, so when it does wear out and change colors, you're easily able to view your brake reservoir and see that it's the wrong color and know it's time to replace it. So once I've drained the brake reservoir up top, I go to the farthest caliper from the reservoir. So that's going to be the left side. I'm not a big fan of how Ducati does the brake lines on some of their motorcycles. I don't like it when the brake line goes down to the right caliper and then there's a short line that runs across the fender to the left caliper. To me it just doesn't look right on a motorcycle. This bike actually has black Galfer brake lines on order, so if you come back maybe in the next month, you'll see me doing this same procedure, except I will be installing black Galfers on here and making the bike look the way it should have looked coming out of the factory. There's no reason why Ducati couldn't have put two black braided brake lines from the master cylinder down to the brake calipers. So right now I'm pumping new fluid through and I'm watching the reservoir to make sure that I don't suck all the fluid out of the reservoir. So that right there, pulling new fluid from the farthest caliper, that introduced the new brake fluid into the system. So pretty much this left side is done. At this point I know I did it right because I went for a test ride and the brakes are amazing on this bike. So now I'm going to do the right side. You always want to start at the farthest caliper again. Whether it be your car or your motorcycle, when you're bleeding brakes, start as far away from the master cylinder as you can possibly get. So I haven't refilled the caliper yet, and I'm going to get it almost to the bottom of the caliper before I stop pulling the fluid out. I just want to make sure I get as much new fluid through the system as I can to wash out all the original dark fluid that this bike had. So this caliper's done. You want to make sure and get all the brake residue, the brake fluid residue off of your little bleeder valve. The last thing you want is that stuff to spread. It will take the paint off your bike. So I'm going to top off this reservoir, and I know the brakes are spongy right now without even trying them. I know they're not that good. Uh, if you have a bleeder valve on your master, it is very important that you bleed it, and it's going to take an 11mm wrench. But I found that any brake system designed to have this bleeder valve up here by the lever, you definitely have to bleed it. There's always air up there in the master for whatever reason. This is also the easiest one to bleed. So I just make sure that I get enough fluid through to get as much of the new brake fluid into the system as possible. Of course, with that little tank falling off my mighty back, I got to pull more air through it in case some got in. So we just tighten this back up. Your brake system's done at this point. This is not a hard job. If you get yourself a Mighty Vac vacuum pump, see I got good brakes there. If you get a Mighty Vac vacuum pump from anybody, Amazon, eBay, they have them at Harbor Freight, but you have to look for them. If you go down the aisle and you see the Harbor Freight vacuum pump, if you look somewhere around the top shelf hidden away, you'll find a Mighty Vac vacuum pump. For some reason they don't like it when you buy the Mighty Vac over their piece of crap. I would not buy the Harbor Freight vacuum pump though. The Mighty Vac's the best one you're going to get. I probably have 5 of them, a couple in each workshop, a bunch laying around. I even have new ones in the box. So we just wiped off the diaphragm, any of that old residues off the diaphragm now, and I'm wiping off the cover. This cover, it looks like the brake fluid's already corroded some of the cap, and some genius decided to put black paint on the cap to hide it. So I guess I'll be going to Ducati to buy a new cap, because the owner of this bike is very particular about his motorcycles. If there's rust or discoloration anywhere, he immediately will replace that with new, just to make it look right. And I don't blame him. He likes his stuff to be really nice. So I'll be jumping on the interwebs to find a new cap for this master, this reservoir. But we're pretty much done here. You can wrap a zip tie around this brake lever and the handlebar. If your brake lever feels a little bit spongy, that will get any of that sponginess out. Just hold the brake lever back and put a zip tie on it. But I hope this was helpful for you. Thanks for watching.